And don't forget to order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, an excellent book that you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, available in both PDF as well as paperback form.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 2 preview between the Atlanta Falcons and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now let's take a look at some coaching points in this ball game, starting with Atlanta.
For the Falcons in this ball game, they have to play the run on the way to the quarterback. Until the Bengals show they can run the football with some consistency, they can get aggressive in getting after Andy Dalton. And the biggest matchup I'm looking at defensively is between nose tackle Paul Soliai and the rookie center Russell Bodine. Right now, Bodine is struggling to move guys off the spot, and I think Soliai can have some success in this aspect, not only versus the pass, but also in the running game. And the Falcons have to dictate offensively. I think they did a great job last week versus New Orleans, dictating the terms, kept the Saints in certain personnel for certain types of coverages with their personnel groupings, the 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. The Falcons, as well as the Bengals, are one of the few teams that can exclusively operate out of the spread and be exceptionally well offensively. So I think they have to dictate the terms, control the pace and tempo of the game in order to have some success versus Cincinnati. And for the Bengals in this ball game, they have to try and isolate Paul Warlow in the passing game. I think that's a matchup they can exploit with Gio Bernard and or Jeremy Hill. Warlow is weak in coverage. I think that's where the Bengals can have some success this week versus Atlanta. And they have to win those individual matchups in the secondary. The Falcons will try to force one-on-one matchups in the secondary with guys like Julio Jones, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, even Devin Hester getting into the fray. They'll try to force those one-on-one matchups. So in my opinion, the Bengals secondary has to play the biggest role in order for these guys to have some success. And they can't overthink the creativity on offense. Listen, I love all the different personnel groupings, all of the different formations, but you can't overthink the creativity, which could limit the offensive success in the red zone. They have to come away with sevens versus Atlanta in order to win the ball game.
The Atlanta Falcons had a lot of success throwing the football versus New Orleans, and if they want to have success versus Cincinnati, they're going to have to do the same thing, and they have to execute even better like they did last week in the red zone. We're going to show you one play they can run versus the Bengals, and I think they have the advantage going against that secondary with those receiving options that they have at their disposal. You see right here, we're going to create a little bit of a bunch set and try to put the backer and the two cornerbacks in the bind while trying to also create space for Julio Jones and Roddy White. And what we're going to do with these guys here, you see we have a receiver. This could be this could be Devin Hester. It can also be Harry Douglas. We're going to bring him in motion, showing the defense that, okay, maybe they're going this way toward the tight end side, and we're going to bring him back. And once he gets in between the tackle and the receiver is when you want to snap the football. We're going to have the tight end on the backside block, holding this backer at bay, also holding this strong safety. He'll be too late to get over top of whatever we're trying to do. We're going to run 2 takeoff routes. We're going to have Roddy White shoot straight for the free safety. And again, this is in the red zone. So we're going to have the free safety get taken away by Roddy White's streak. We're going to have Julio Jones run a takeoff route. His job is to split that cornerback, both cornerbacks, and run down the sideline, creating a one-on-one opportunity, putting him furthest away from the free safety, and again, creating that one-on-one opportunity, because what we have here on the motion guy coming back, he's running an out route. So now what happens is these two routes make it hard for the safety to get over top of Julio Jones, and it also creates a problem for the backer and or the corner, because a lot of times when teams see bunch, because you have the 1, 2, 3, when teams see bunch, they try to pass guys off, and when you run routes like this, or a combination like this, it's tough to switch and pass guys off. So you essentially are playing man, which means this guy could be at a disadvantage because he's going to have to bubble over to get to that speed out. So you have your built-in hot read, and if you have time, you have one-on-one with the free safety and a cornerback. So again, one way the Atlanta Falcons can have some success in the red zone by running this route, a bunch concept route, putting a guy in motion, snapping the football once he splits the receiver and the offensive tackle, putting that cornerback and that outside linebacker in a bind, and it could result into a big play, which could end up being a touchdown versus Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals can take advantage of a weakened Atlanta front. Even in week 1, they had some injuries along the offensive line, especially on the left side. I think with their defensive line, they have a chance to create all kind of havoc weak side. I'm going to show you one weak side pressure they can run versus these two guys on the back side with the backer, the defensive tackle, and the defensive end. Now, pre-snap, It is cover 2 look, but really it's going to be cover 1. And we're going to have corners manned up on the wide receiver here. And what we're going to do, we're going to drop this free safety down in the box, replacing this backer who we're going to send on a blitz. So front side, defensive end contained, defensive tackles playing their responsibility, they're contained. We're dropping backer and backer. Now what we're going to do weak side, we're going to send this defensive tackle. His job is to try to get that outside shoulder of the tackle, and we're going to send his defensive end, crossing him into the A-gap, looping him around into the A-gap, and to replace his gap responsibility, which would be the outside, we're sending the outside backer, and like I said, we're dropping the free safety in his zone responsibility. Cover 1, strong safety now is going to take responsibility of the deeper part of the field, and again, pre-snap cover 2, but really it's cover 1. And what the Bengals have at their disposal, guys that can get pressure on the quarterback and athletic linebackers that can cover and take away the underneath route. Again, this is going to be a good look with that free safety jumping in, robbing the weak side zone of the outside backer as he gets pressure. And you're going to put a lot of pressure on the backside guard and tackle. So that's one way Cincinnati can put pressure on Atlanta's left tackle and left guard, putting Matt Ryan in a bind, forcing him to get rid of the football quickly, or even dictating a turnover or getting a sack, which would be ideal. Any one of those situations would be ideal for the Cincinnati Bengals at home versus Atlanta.
The X factor in this ball game for Atlanta will be quarterback Matt Ryan. I came away highly impressed with what I saw from him last week, evading the pressure in the pocket, getting outside of the pocket, doing what he had to do to extend the play and make big plays down the field, and he was able to play excellent situational football. So again, if he can carry that over to this week versus Cincinnati, another tough defense, it bodes well for the Falcons' chances to come away victorious. And for the Bengals, I'll look at the linebackers and pass coverage. Those guys did a solid job last week versus Baltimore. They're going to have to excel again versus the Falcons, who will try to test that underneath coverage, then try to hit big plays deep down the field. But the way those guys were able to cover and match up in the passing game versus Baltimore leads me to believe they can do the same thing versus Atlanta, or they have to do so in order to have success. I like the Bengals in this ball game. This should be a very entertaining matchup between two offenses that I think are similar in how they try to attack a defense. And what we'll see from the Bengals offense this time around, we'll see more of the running game. They'll try to run off tackle and try to attack those outside edge rushers of Atlanta, and they'll have some success. Now, defensively, what separates the Bengals from other teams is that their second-level defenders, their linebacking core, actually complements very well the secondary. So I think the back seven will do a great job in slowing down the Falcons' passing game, getting these guys off the field, and ultimately winning the game.
What's up, fantasy football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. For all of your starts, sits, fantasy football notes, news, and tidbits, tune into our podcast, Football Game Plan Starting Lineup, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, which is located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.
And don't forget to check out Football Game Plan's NFL Wraparound live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan, where we give you all of our late-minute and last-minute notes, news, and tidbits and thoughts on each and every game on the NFL schedule. And I also want to give a huge shout-out to Bengal fan forums and Falcon fan forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.